Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor. We're out here driving the brand new 2021 Infiniti QX80. This thing is a big SUV from Infiniti. It's the one that looks mean and drives just a bit meaner. Packing a 5.6 liter V8 making 400 horsepower, 414 pound-feet of torque. Made it to a 7-speed automatic transmission. It gets awful fuel economy. It's dated. It's cumbersome to drive, and overall just not a very good SUV. But if you're watching this video, you're probably interested in buying one. And so you probably like to know what the heck I'm talking about when I say it's not very good. Well, first of all, this truck's been out for a while. And yes, I do mean truck because it is a full body-on-frame SUV. It's not a crossover, if you will, like a lot of those new cars, the 3 rows. This is a full, hardcore, body-on-frame, tough truck sort of deal. And it rides like it. You feel every little road imperfection, but on the flip side, if you're doing big-time bumps, off-roading, that sort of deal, it kind of filters out those stronger bumps. But on the flip side, again, you're running on 22-inch wheels, so I think it's only 50 aspect ratio tires, the sidewall's thin, and you're going to be feeling those road imperfections. We're going to drive it around a little bit, talk a little bit about its driving dynamics, find a place to park, get out, and take a look at all 3 rows, and wrap things up. I'm not going to be all harsh on the car though. It does have a very pretty interior. Materials feel good. Quality feels good everywhere except for the doors. When we get out, I'll show you how strangely tinny those things feel and sound. But controls are good, everything you touch feels nice, it's a good shifter. If you guys want to see more on the infotainment system, we've got a dedicated review of the Bose 13-speaker audio system. Let's check the link in the description for that. And hit that subscribe button. If you guys like what you see here, it helps us out a bunch to bump up that subscriber count a little bit. So go ahead and click that for us. I'm going to be running over some real rough bumps here. We'll just see how much this thing shakes around. See the steering wheel bouncing around in my hand, the whole car kind of shudder there. It's going to be a big one right here. Oof. Then going around corners, the whole thing just feels so top heavy. But it can scoot. If there's one really good thing to say about the driving aspects of this car, it's this engine. Sounds good, it pulls strong, certainly enough power for this big behemoth. The 7-speed transmission is okay. It doesn't downshift quite as quickly or in the ways that I'd always like. There's no kick down button at the end of the throttle. But for everyday driving, it's smooth and competent enough. Gauge cluster is really quite dated looking. I mean, the gauges themselves look good, but that little center LED or LCD display resolution's not very good. It doesn't even give you a digital speed readout, which I think is really frustrating, especially in a vehicle like this where it kind of masks its speed. Sort of hard to feel how fast you're going being this high off the ground. Then you've got Infiniti's weird dual infotainment display where you got the map up top with pretty dated resolution, and then you have a crisper screen down here that handles your climate control, audio, and a few other settings, that sort of deal. I do appreciate the climate control buttons on the sides, physical buttons, easy to get to. Technically, this is based off of the Nissan Patrol, Nissan Armada platform, so it does have some off-roading chops, but I'd be surprised if many people were taking their $79,000 Infiniti SUV off-road. Oh, that stability control kicks in there mighty fierce. Been getting horrendous fuel economy. You can see 14.8 right now is our average. good amount of mixed driving. No panoramic sunroof, just this little slide up thing. This is new for 2021 though. You can see if I flip this button, that's just a standard rearview mirror, but I flip it back and it is a screen display, and it is one of the better ones on the market. My eyes don't have as much trouble refocusing to it as some of the other ones. The resolution's good, it's got adjustability. Fair enough. Do a 60 to 0 braking stop. It actually comes to a stop pretty quickly. And 0 to 60. Again, not too bad. Actual performance metrics for this car, pretty decent considering what it is. You do have manual shifting from the center. I appreciate that they didn't put stupid paddle shifters on a big SUV like this. So you can cycle through your gears. And it will hold revs for you. If you get to the top of your gear, it will not automatically upshift. Seat comfort's been pretty good. I've actually only got minimal seat adjustments. You've got 4-way up and down on your seat bottom. Only 2-way lumbar adjustment though. Kind of surprising. And you don't have any thigh support adjustment either. Just seems weird that they could go so opulent with this car. I mean, it's obviously a showy vehicle. It's obviously one for people who want to make a statement, want to spend some extra money on something really kind of badass, and yet they miss the opportunity to sort of make this like an Escalade, make it really glitzy and show-offish, bunch of gimmicky features. Instead, it's honestly kind of boring inside and doesn't really match the exterior look at me sort of aesthetic. Getting up on the highway, one of my other big complaints with the QX80 is that it's not super refined on the highway. I've been in Lexus SUVs that are practically silent at highway speeds. You don't hear road noise, you don't hear wind noise, you don't hear engine noise. Now, this is a decently loud section of highway, being concrete with a bunch of gaps, but still, it's louder than I would have liked for a vehicle of this caliber and this cost. You do have adaptive cruise control. Select that. You have to change the following distance every time you turn the cruise control on. It always defaults to 3 levels of following distance. No sort of active lane keep, so if you start to drift off, it will beep at you, but it won't pull you back into the lane. You do have blind spot monitoring, thank goodness. Another thing that's kind of weird is the setup of these rearview mirrors. They're sort of portrait-oriented. Just a little uncommon. Steering's almost too light. Kind of just a floaty feeling. I like light steering when you're at slow speeds. I think that's good, especially for a large vehicle like this. But once you get up to highway speeds, I like the steering to firm up a good amount, and I'm not really getting that here in the QX80. There's nothing about this car that demands $79,000. It'd be one thing if there were one extremely redeeming quality, like an excellent sound system, or supremely supple seats, or a really revolutionary powertrain. But there just isn't. I imagine this car is a huge cash cow for Nissan, so regardless of how many they sell, they make a good amount of money, so it's not a big deal. There's the lane keep. But it's just surprising that people would go in and buy this thing brand new. Not only that, but it's been out for as long as it has, more or less unchanged. Just get yourself a used one. They're relatively reliable. They're very stoutly built. Not a complex powertrain. I owned an Infiniti back in 2000. Well, it was a 2006 Infiniti back in the mid-2010s. At 230,000 miles when I sold it, and it was great. No reliability issues. If anyone has a justification for redeeming qualities on this car, some reason to buy or lease it new, Please let me know. I'm genuinely curious. Oh, good. An SUV that will draw more attention than this one. Duck back here in the shade. Take a look at the interior. Up front, you have some decent, what feels to be fake wood. I'd be surprised if this were real. It's very cold. Fakey wood plastic, some cup holders, a little bit of storage area. Big old nice kind of shifter thing for the four-wheel drive, although very plasticky feeling. I do like the layout though for the snow and the tow modes and everything. Decent center console. This actually flips up both ways so that the back can access it as well. Speaking of the back, got a decent second row. Back here, like I said, no panoramic sunroof, but you do have a rear climate control, some USB-A ports, cup holders, a really large center storage bin for these two seats. And that's about it. Moving on back to the third row. This is kind of neat. To fold the seats, you just that. And away you are back into the third row. The third row is powered. So you can recline yourself. You can see as a 5'10" adult, my knees go way up and the floor isn't completely flat. So there's not much comfortable space here for me. Headroom is okay, but I wouldn't want to be back here for more than, maybe about an hour top. I'd at least want to be able to sit like this. So definitely not 3 adults in the back of the QX80. And it's not exactly the most useful cargo carrier either. You don't have a really flat load surface. Let's pop open the rear hatch, which takes an eternity to open up here in 2020 compared to other vehicles. Huge load floor too. I mean, this is up to my hips as being 5'10", and you've got this giant lip. So anyone needing to reach something up and over already has to go about a foot out just to set something into the trunk. Fold these seats. You have to hold the buttons down as they slowly make their way. Still going, still going. Then you finally get them down, and you see you've got an angled load surface, so you can't load a bunch of stuff in here anyway. Other than that, a few 12-volt outlets, actually just one 12-volt outlet back here. And that's about it. Tad bit of underfloor storage, and then your spare tire tools underneath there. So not exactly a useful cargo carrier, not a super useful people carrier, not a great driver. Other than kind of having some cool looks, really don't get much appeal to the QX80 here in 2020. Maybe 7 years ago, might have been a different story. I would definitely pick new products from Lincoln or Cadillac over this, other than maybe the XT6. That's not too great. But I would take the Lexus LX, even though that one's dated as well. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit that subscribe button. Check out our Bose sound system test on the QX80. And hopefully we can get some redemption for some Infiniti products in here soon. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.